Here, before we go, we're gonna play Name That Song. Let's see how fast you can name this song.
Name that song?
Yeah, let's see if you.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah, you're gonna do it.
Warrant.
No, stop.
Cherry pie.
No, listen. Mixing it up here. You got.
All right.
How many seconds will it take you to guess this song? Ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
I don't do this.
Shh.
Just letting all the ladies know what guys.
That's the thong song.
How could you? Why do you know the thong song?
What do you mean?
Why would you know
The
thong
melody.
song?
The melody at the beginning.
Oh, is that what
distinct.
Ooh, that dress so scandalous. You know.
Do you know the lyrics?
No, of course not.
Really?
Let
me see that thong. We're using the mic, so hopefully you guys like the sound better. Hope it sounds better. We'll see how it goes. We're trying something different. We got our lapel mics on.
Yeah, so you got to watch it though. Like what? You're peaking.
I'm always peaking. That's what I do.
No,
peak.
you plateaued.
I peak. I don't know. You just said I'm peaking.
You plateaued.
I peak every day.
Gosh.
Oh. Hey, I gotta stop by Hobby Lobby.
Why are we going to Hobby Lobby?
I gotta get some frames for some art that I'm putting up in my study.
All right.
So we got a message, and on Facebook, and this guy wants us to talk, and really you, probably more, to talk about Bi-Vocational Ministry.
Bi-vocational.
Yeah, this guy is he's volunteering or he's working. Well, why don't we read it? You want to read it?
Do you have it?
Yeah. I'll read it.
Caleb Hickey.
What?
Okay, still.
I don't know why it's on.
All right, here we go. Hey guys, I love the podcast. It's super encouraging, fun, and thought-provoking. Keep up the banter. I love it. I would really like to hear you guys talk about bivocational ministry for even a little bit, like on a Mailbag app. I graduated from seminary in May 2016 and joined a church plant that launched in September 2016
Awesome.
as an unpaid associate pastor. It's been a great
That's not
year.
so awesome. That part's a lot harder.
It's been a great year. The Lord has been super faithful and done incredible things, but it's also been a very challenging year. I work 40 hours a week at another job, and sometimes it feels like I'm working at my job and just doing church stuff on the side. There are definitely days when I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. We know we are where the Lord has called us to, but the waiting gets difficult and discouraging sometimes. Also, the logistical nature of bivocational ministry is it's tricky. It's tricky to navigate. There's a lot of work to be done. Sounds like Fofo is doing something like this and thriving. I don't know about thriving. Anyways,
whoa.
Keep the podcast coming, keep the banter coming, and God bless. Thanks, Caleb. Yeah. I'm bivocational. I'm like bi-vocational.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so
vocational.
Jimmy works part-time at the church.
Yeah.
And you work full-time. Really,
I work full-time, yeah. At the factory.
Jimmy, you say I work at the factory.
I work at the
like
factory.
You've got a do-rag on your head and you're on an assembly line putting screws into boxes.
Sometimes I have to be.
No, you don't.
No, I work at a contract manufacturing company, chemical contract manufacturing. So, that's what I do full-time. I am the VP of operations. So I handle all the day-to-day stuff. I handle customers primarily, a lot of our Keystone accounts. I take orders.
Customers like you.
Customers love me.
Yeah.
I put in the orders. I plan out production. I purchase all the materials needed for production. I make sure that we get everything that they need to them on time, every time. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I do. And so the nature of it is, though, that I'm in charge of all the personnel, all the departments. Like we have
They don't care about all that. You're bivocational.
I'm bivocational.
Okay,
I work.
right. So
but what I'm
church,
trying to get to, though, what I'm trying to get to, though, is it takes a lot of my time. It's a good 45 to 50 hours a week.
Really?
It takes a lot.
No,
it takes a lot.
I know, but
okay, 60.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be.
Okay,
I'm trying to like.
Because you have to work. This is the nature of your business. You got to work at night sometimes.
I got to work at night. I got to.
And then when there's
in
a
the weekends, I'm always on.
Yeah,
I'm always on. And so I'm probably in a better position than a lot of other bivocational ministers, because one, the company that I work for was started by my dad, so he gives me the leeway to, as long as I get my job done, and he's always been really supportive about God's call on my life to pursue ministry, and so he gives me the space that I need. But then I'm also blessed because I'm at a church that understands that I am bivocational, that even in the middle of the day when I'm supposed to be at the church working on church things, that if an emergency comes up, I got to deal with it.
Yeah.
If a phone call comes through or an email or something like that, it needs to be dealt with right away.
So the nature of your bivocational ministry means that there's a lot of flexibility on both parts.
Exactly.
Because like you can do work for the church sometimes when you're technically on office hours at GSP.
That's right.
But then you can do work. So it's all about efficiency, productivity,
but also transparency and flexibility.
Right.
So, I have to be honest with work, both sides, on where my time's at, what I'm doing, the things that are causing me issues. And so they're both very understanding, very, very understanding. If I've got a customer that's coming in on a Tuesday, which is usually my church day, I switch my days. That's just the way it goes.
I don't like it when you switch your days.
But I switch my days.
Yeah,
I switch my days.
Like
so
Tuesdays are days.
But it's hard. It's hard. I understand what you mean when it feels like you're working a full-time job and doing ministry on the side, because in a lot of ways you are. I mean, I don't want to act like you're not. You've got 40 hours to provide for your family, but that is also giving you the opportunity to minister when you are able to. And so, I mean, don't be discouraged by that. Don't be discouraged.
On the side, and we recognize, okay, it's on the side, but it's a huge demand.
It is a huge demand.
Yeah, people are like, well, I'm part-time. Okay, but
there's a lot I wish I could do, but I just can't.
But you always wind up when you're part-time, you wind up working more than you are paid for. That's just like when you're part-time at the church.
But I even think though, Eve, that's full-time. I think that's both. I think it's both full-time and part-time.
We're talking about bivocational. I just don't want people to think like, oh, well, I just, I'm gonna put in 10 hours a week or 20 hours a week. For most people,
no,
it's going
to be a lot more.
More than that.
It's going to be a lot more.
Now, why don't you talk about what's good about bivocational ministry? Because a lot of people look at it and they say, I don't ever want to do it. I think it's a terrible idea. But there are some good reasons to do it, and there are some advantages to doing it, at least for a season.
At least, absolutely. So I think first you kind of touched on it at the beginning there of your email. The church can't afford you. They just can't. It's a new church plant. The funds are limited. And so it actually now frees up funds to take care of the operations of the church, and you're getting paid for doing other work as well.
So it's beneficial to the church.
It's beneficial to the church. I think it's also, though, beneficial to you and the church in that it keeps you grounded. Sometimes working full-time, you kind of lose sight of what it's like for other people that don't have the opportunity of sitting around. I shouldn't say sitting around, but you know what I mean. Like we get to, as elders and pastors, we get to focus on word and prayer and counseling, and we lose sight of the struggles that everyday working members of the congregation
are going through. It's easy to forget what it's like to punch in the clock,
punch in and punch out.
9 to 5, yeah,
exactly. And so for me, it's actually really encouraging for me because it keeps me aware, even as we're discussing budgets for the church and we're discussing building campaigns and we're discussing serving opportunities, to remember, well, hold on, I know how stressed and pulled in every direction I am.
Right.
There's a lot of our members that are pulled even harder than I am.
Sure.
And so it gives me that sight to say, okay, there's sympathy, I think, for them. There's an understanding.
Even as a strategy
for what they're going through.
Bivocational ministry for pastors can be a really good idea on the front end of ministry responsibilities or church planting, because it does connect you to people in the community in a way that you might not be connected if you weren't bivocational.
That's it. So we've had people from my work come to Redeemer for Sundays or for other like picnics and events or some of the other ministries that the church provides.
When we do like casino night,
clothes closet, things like that.
Okay.
And so, yeah, they enjoy it. They love it. And it also gives me an opportunity at work to share the gospel. That's just with anybody. Anybody that is working 9 to 5 already has the opportunity to be sharing the gospel.
But it's
in their
so
workplace.
easy for you because you're like, well, yeah, this is what I do in the world, but I do something else.
And that's it.
That I'm really passionate about. It's so easy for you to jump
Exactly.
right to it.
And so a lot of our employees know that I work for a church as well. They know that I'm a believer. They know that I'm in ministry. And so they feel comfortable talking to me about certain things. And even a lot of our corporate functions, like, company-wide functions, people ask for prayer, and we
Yeah.
pray together. And at Christmas and Thanksgiving, when we talk about things, like, we do pray together as a company. And so, yeah, I mean, I enjoy that aspect of it.
They
I
know
enjoy.
that you're not just the VP at
That's
this,
it.
at this company. They also know that you are a minister.
And they feel comfortable then coming to me and sharing what's going on in their families, what's going on at home.
Even if they're not Christian.
Even if
Yeah.
they're not Christian. Even just 2 weeks ago, I had one of my managers tell me, listen, I'm sending someone your way, one of my employees. They're struggling. I told them they can talk to you, that we could talk about these things, and that you'd understand how to kind of help her through this. And so, me and her and the manager sat down. We were able to talk about those things. So it is hard. You've also, like, practically now, you need to be very efficient and intentional on your time. Discipline. You need to schedule what you're going to do when. You need to know what your tasks are going to be. You need to have your goals and objectives for the day. You can't just wing it like Joe.
Some of you can probably wing it, right?
Don't wing it. Don't wing it, because the moment you start winging it and you start not taking care of either job, that means you're going to take time away from your family. And so you need to really be intentional on what you're doing when, and carving out, when am I going to be home and disconnected from everything so I can spend time with my wife and kids.
Okay, so let's talk about the cons.
All right.
What are some of the difficulties that are common to bivocational ministries as you're thinking about it?
Well, first, I think burnout. I think people can easily get burned out because they're doing too much. They're trying to do everything during the week, when it's just not going to be possible to get everything done during the week. So I think there's burnout. I think burnout is also because of unrealistic expectations from the church or from work. And I'm thinking specifically from the church. I feel this weight of, am I doing enough? And are people, like, I don't know, I'm trying to word it right without actually sounding like I'm crying right now.
You're not complaining.
Yeah, I feel this tension sometimes of, like, what does Jimmy do? You know what I mean? But no one's ever said that. No one's ever been like, what are you even doing around here, right? Like, but you feel that because you sense this inadequacy of, like, there's so much to do, but I can only do this much with the time allotted, and so I don't sacrifice my family. And so, yeah, there's expectations that, whether perceived or real, that you have to deal with. And then the third, I think, is when push comes to shove, unfortunately, a lot of bivocational ministers will sacrifice their family on the altar of ministry. And you can't do that. You can't do that.
You got to put your family first.
Put family first.
I would say that there's one other thing to think about, and that it's not true for every ministry position, but it is definitely true. Well, I shouldn't say that. I believe it's true for the lead pastor position in particular, and for many other pastoral positions. And that is that you can be bivocational for a season, but the larger your church grows, the more necessary it is for you to be there full time. So especially, so you can have part-time guys that are, on pastoral staff, but you're going to need some full-time guys, because the people are just simply going to need you present. And in a healthy church, they're going to want you to commit to it, not because they don't think you're committed, but because they know you're called to it. They're going to want you to do what you're called to do in the fullest capacity possible. So they're going to say, like, hey, you're part-time now, but we want to get you to full-time. So don't necessarily conclude this is how it's going to be
for the rest,
for forever. But also, you don't have to conclude that I'm going to have to sometimes, at some point, go full-time, because other ministry positions will allow you to do both.
That's right. Yep, right? Absolutely.
Cool. All right, we got to go to hobby.
All right, let's go.